action. Honorable.
Good afternoon,
Once again, thank you so much.
Nice to meet you again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Please, the hot seat.
You're welcome.
How is Nigeria treating you?
We say, how is Nigeria treating us?
Yes.
It's not just all about me because I'm representing the people.
Yes.
I can tell you vividly that Nigerians are not being treated well as it stands today. There's hunger in the land. The insecurity that we were complaining all these years under BWARI's administration, we have not seen kind of improvement till now. Children are still being kidnapped in their numbers. That shouldn't be. By now, we must have developed the kind of technology that we will use to avert such occurrence.
And it's 1 year already.
It's 1 year already.
Plus.
1 year plus already. So Nigerians are not being treated.
I agree, because I'm part of Nigeria,
Yes.
and I go to the markets.
Yes.
I live among Nigerians. I relate with Nigerians. In fact, this show is deliberately for the Nigerian people, and that's why we open up with how is Nigeria treating you. I'm only asking that to know whether possibly you are going to a different market, possibly whether the environment where you live is different from where we, the commoners, the average Nigerians
That
live.
is not possible.
It's clear.
Every Nigerian goes to the same market.
Yeah.
And that is what baffles me. Because when people start by the sideline and say, you know, because I'm APC, because I'm PDP, because I'm from LP, or I'm from I belong to this tribe or the other tribe. Have you ever been to any hospital and because you are an Hausa man and the price of the hospital bill changes for you?
No.
Have you ever sent your children to school and they say because you belong to one religious organization or group, maybe you're a Christian, and you are given less bill?
No.
Until all of us realize that we need one another to succeed, Nigeria will remain the same.
We're in this together.
Yes.
Let's delve into the aspect of FCT. If you come to the center of FCT, the FCT minister is said to be doing well and all of that. But I took some time, knowing that we're going to have this conversation. I went into the rural areas in FCT, and it is terribly abandoned.
Yes.
What do you have to say about that?
If there is any reason why I ran for this office, is the inability of the subsequent administration of paying attention to our rural communities and satellite towns. And without paying attention to this area, the economic viability or potentials of FCT can never be reached. Because if things are limited only in the city, be it development, be it at economic activities, then we've not achieved the goal. Today, if there is a good road network down to our rural communities, if there is good schools, if there is good primary health care, that people can get the basic thing that any government should provide for its citizens, I don't think that our cities will be congested as it is today. People will have alternative. Someone with a large family can decide to leave the city, go down to the suburb, where he can get an apartment or a house for 700,000. He will not
and can easily come into the city to work and go back home.
And that provides him other alternatives, even in the terms of having a small place to farm. He can get some vegetables to add up to what will augment the daily needs of his family. So this is what we're talking about. If there is electricity in all these our rural communities, somebody can engage himself as a barber or a
hairdresser, things like that, yes.
Also, if we have a good transportation system, which Abuja is overdue to have, we would have attracted better things for FCT residents.
So what's your engagement with the FCT minister in this direction? Because thank God you talked about if you're to be living in the rural area, you could easily have in your backyard your own private farm and all of that. Because food is very scarce in FCT today, unlike it used to be.
Food security, as far as FCT is concerned, is issue of national security, as far as I'm concerned. If today there is anything that happens that cut off from other states that are bordering FCT, FCT cannot survive for 4 days.
That's
with
dangerous.
The kind of population that we have today. And you know, that only cannot be done by maybe security issues that relates to maybe kidnapping or robbery or banditry. Nature can also impact us in that way.
It did. Remember Kogi?
Kogi?
Yes.
And it can happen maybe in Nasarawa.
Yeah.
So it will be cut off. And if there's no means of bringing food items to Abuja, 4 days, I bet you will buy a mudu of gari for 5,000 naira in Abuja.
A mudu, it's almost there already.
2,000 something
it's almost
right
there,
now.
yeah. So but I'm saying, what about the FCT minister? How's your relationship with him?
I have a good
different
relationship
party and all of that
with the FCT minister.
Yes.
We don't have any issue of disagreement.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned. I also have a method of passing to him things that the people of FCT needs. And I know that from this office I have passed one information or the other that I have seen him paid attention to and tackle.
Okay.
But the issue that is pressing to me is the issue of our rural communities.
He has not given attention to this.
He has started, but much needed to be done. Dixon, last time we discussed, I told you about the situation of the primary school.
Yes.
This is rainy season. Will you know the condition of those pupils and students? No school. If there is no roof in a school, that means anytime it rains, that is the end of the school activities
that day.
For the day. So how much? So that means we throw away all our children would have learned during the rainy season because it's raining.
And this is FCT.
And FCT, a state governed by the President of the Federal Republic, is unacceptable. That is one area I will continue to push until things are done and shown that it's not only for the rich, but the poor and the middle class should be part of what is happening in FCT. I will not stop.
Talking about middle class, do we still have middle class in Nigeria?
Well,
because it seems to have been eroded.
People who believe they belong to the middle class continue to fight. And that is the work of the government to make sure that the middle class exists in our society.
To build that bridge.
To build that bridge.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, it's a disaster for this country.
I agree.
It's a disaster. And you know, you talked about issue of food security.
Yes.
Part of the problem that brought this food insecurity to Abuja in particular, when the federal government moved into Abuja and brought the issue of resettling and compensating the indigenous people. And at a time, it was slowed down, yes, and they came with the idea that those who decide not to leave can stay.
Yes.
And in doing so, provisions were not made for people who were predominantly farmers. When I came to Abuja in the 90s, you can buy a big tuber of yam for 30 naira because they were still farming. But today, they don't have farmlands to farm. And that's why I'm proposing a farmland provision for each of the area councils in FCT, a farming reserve that can accommodate both the indigenous and non-indigenous people. But for me, it is a thing of justice and inclusion for FCT authority to make sure that land is provided for the first settlers of Abuja who were met here, who were predominantly farmers. And taking away this farmland has even affected everything about them, even education. They can no longer afford to send their children to high institutions because their economic
activities have been taken away from them. And
government has not provided an alternative to support them adequately. Paying 30,000 and 20,000 to support children that students that are schooling means nothing. The person you supported today in his first time might drop out in his second time. All the money that he has put in the first time is a waste. So if there is anything to do, we must plan from the beginning to the end. Even if it's 100 or 400 people that we are selecting to support, that is the way it should go. So more funding should be added in FCT scholarship fund, and a percentage of it should be budgeted for the indigenous people of FCT.
I agree with that. Because the story you've painted, you know why I'm a bit like worried?
Yes.
People were taken away from their land, or their lands taken away from them, and there's no plan made to compensate or reposition them.
No plan whatsoever.
That's very worrisome.
Yes.
And that's dangerous for the Federal Capital Territory to harbor people who are aggrieved like that.
And I don't mind is devil's workshop.
The devil's workshop, yes.
We have teeming youths of the indigenous community that are not well equipped educationally to, compete with Nigerians that have come to meet them, that are well schooled, that have money,
that are exposed better than they are.
So it's a problem, and that is one. Two, apart from that, even other Nigerians that are here can also access those things that I'm talking about.
Of course.
If there's such facilities.
We're all Nigerians.
We're all Nigerians.
Yeah.
And again, insecurity has also made it impossible that even when they want to go out of, like I'm talking about my federal constituency now, AMAC and BWARI. Look at AMAC, where will you find me again? Then even if when they want to go out of here, to go further to some of the area councils where they can still, get some farmland, maybe rent or lease or anything to farm. The insecurity in the country has made it even impossible. The further you go, the more risk you encounter.
How will you rate this government 1 year after?
Now,
this is beyond you being a member of the House of Reps now. This is you as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. How will you rate the Chinedu administration?
You see, let us remove politics aside.
Yes.
Every good Nigerian will want the government of Nigeria to succeed.
True. Because if it succeeds,
if it succeeds, all of us succeed.
Yeah.
The only thing we can say is, even if APC have not done well, but they have tried to do one or two things, we can do better. And this is how we think that we can do that. But let me go back to the question you asked. Today in Nigeria, even before this time, a mudu of garri today is 2,500. So let's take a laborer that works in the site. Those men and women that you see that carries a pan, that work from 8 a.m. to
5, 6
in the evening. How much are they paid? 5,000. How much is a mudu of garri? 2,005. How much will you use to make
the soup?
A pot of soup. So, can you see it?
Tomato,
Nigerians
you can't afford it. Pepper, you can't afford it.
It's not being exaggerated.
Yeah.
A loaf of bread is 1,500.
Some places 2,000.
You have not talked about the milk now. The sachet milk now is 200. We are not talking about the sugar or Lipton or Milo. The sachet is another 200. So it takes one person to drink tea in a family is about 1,000 naira. If you have a family of 6,000. So if that laborer decides to drink tea in his house, that is what he have labored for the day. The afternoon meal is not there. The evening meal is not there. Nigeria is on fire. And part of this was the issue of subsidy.
Yeah.
We talked about subsidy.
Yeah.
We are going to remove subsidy.
Yeah.
I said about it in the last interview that I had with you.
Yeah.
All the presidential candidates agree to subsidy removal.
Yes.
But not the method.
The timing, yes.
And the timing
yes.
in which that subsidy can be removed.
Yeah.
Today, Mr. President removed the subsidy in his first inaugural speech.
Yes.
Now,
subsidy is gone.
We remove subsidy without putting some certain things in place that will help to augment the effects, the shock that the subsidy removal will bring upon us. Do you know that that subsidy, if only Mr. President even sit down with the governors and say, look at this. Because part of the problem that we're having in this country is the issue of that the local government administration is not functional as we speak.
Yeah.
And this is the closest
to the people.
To the people.
I agree.
And for that arm of government not
to be
that
functional.
kind of government not functioning well
Yes.
has affected everything. Insecurity is part of it. The effect that we are having within the education sector is part of it.
Yeah.
Now,
Health sector.
health sector,
Yes.
anything, agriculture.
Yes. Yes.
Before it was in the true local government that you get fertilizers.
Exactly.
All these things are a problem now.
But by the way, is subsidy gone? Because
No,
that's what you heard.
it's not.
It's really gone.
We are discovering now that the subsidy
It's still there.
It's still there.
And they're even paying more.
Even on that, you have made inflation to go up as a result of that pronouncement. Now, everything has skyrocketed. Now, you remove subsidy. You can use that subsidy removal to get the governors on the table to agree to free the local government.
Yeah.
Because part of their problem is that the money that they get from the local government's account together is more than that which states gets. But today, our governors are getting money as a result of this subsidy removal. But have anything changed in the states?
Nothing.
No. So the president would have sat down with these people and said, look, I want you people
It's not going to be business as usual.
Local government their full autonomy. I will be removing subsidy. More money will come to your purse. You will have enough to work, and local government will have enough to work. That can be a discussion.
Yeah.
Where the
But there was
stakeholders,
no such
the
plan.
governor, the members of the National Assembly, and the executive arm can sit down and discuss. Because the local government autonomy can only be gotten with the approval of 2/3 of the state assembly. And if you don't do that, that will be killed. Today, we are paying more on subsidy. The interest rate has risen up. So, tell me what that subsidy removal, by the time that subsidy was removed,
It was said to be having removed.
so I said to me, have been removed.
Because
has achieved.
we now know better that it was not really
better.
removed.
We know better.
We'll come back and then we'll discuss
Yes.
what also you people in the Federal House of Representatives,
Yes.
particularly National Assembly generally, what you're doing also to help the state of our country. This is Nigeria right now with Dixon Irebu. Today my guest is Honorable Chinedu Obika, representing AMAC BWARI Federal Constituency here in the FCT. We'll be right back. Welcome right back. This is Nigeria right now with Dixon Irebu, and my guest is still here, Honorable Chinedu Obika. Honorable, yes, we have discussed all of these angles that has to do with what this administration has done in 1 year, what it hasn't done in 1 year. Nigerians are also of the view that most of our problem has to do with these people in the National Assembly, that is you people in the National Assembly. So it would be wrong for us to keep pointing, accusing finger when the other four is actually pointing at you. One wonders, how come we're not seeing sacrifice being made from the National Assembly members? What are you people doing to help us? For instance, there's this story out there that there's a plan to purchase, or if it has already been purchased, new air fleets for the president and all of that. And people are considering or possibly have approved it. Is it true? And possibly also, why are we being distracted with the old new national anthem? What is the plan?
Well, let me start by the airplane that you're talking about for the Mr. President. As far as I'm concerned, that has not come to the House officially.
But you are aware of that plan?
I just hear it just like we are hearing it. And yes, the
Senate has
presidency
discussed it.
is talking about it, the president, but I'm talking about the House of
Reps.
Representatives. There was a time it was, the issue was raised in the House, and we talked about it, but it, we said if the president need something like that, there is a channel in which it will be done, because the committee chairman in charge of national intelligence was talking about that this is a matter of national security, that the air fleet that the president is using is not in order, and something needed to be done about it. But it has not been presented to the House. When we get to that bridge, we will definitely cross it. Because as it stands today, we all know that Nigerians are not happy with what is going on. Unless members who don't go to their constituents.
And not feeling the pulse of the people.
I, for one, I live with them. I'm the only member that lives with them. So their pulse,
You feel
I
it?
feel it every second. I know what is happening today. I know quite a number of young men and women who earns about 40,000 naira, and they have to transport themselves from BWARI to AMAC for work. And they spend about 1,200 in a day. Times it by 30 days. So tell me what they are working for. So that's
Not even enough for the
That's
transport.
the issue. Before now, we have heard over and over that even during Buhari's administration, that money was voted in to repair or maintain or modify the existing presidential fleets that we have. And that is just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Airplane is not a vehicle. It took billions to repair or anything, and that takes years. Some of the airlines that you see today that are flying even commercial are more than 30 years.
True.
And they're still in existence.
True.
So what, if you talk about the presidential air fleet, it doesn't even travel as much as these commercial airlines.
True.
So why do we have to spend so much on it?
Especially now.
Especially now. I am not in any way saying that whatever it will take Mr. President to work should not be given. But at this time, we should be sensitive, because Nigerians are passing through a lot of things. You know, there was a time they talked about the issue of members having vehicles also.
Yeah.
My own take there is this.
Please, I want to get that.
There is no government office, even if you go to those working as commissioners of states, they have their operational vehicles.
Yeah.
My own argument that time is this, that I think that the House would have told the line of getting this vehicle from our local manufacturers like Innocent, so that by so doing, even though we are purchasing something that we need,
The funds
we are
still
circulating.
Yeah.
It's circulating. We are employing more people as a result of doing that. That is where I stand. Not giving at all. We have to work with something.
Of course, you would need
Yes,
vehicles
but
to work with.
Thinking about using our local manufacturers to supply. Today, you can imagine Innocent is the one that supplies all the police vehicles in Nigeria. Do you know how much job that can be generated from it? Do you know that one of the vehicles supplied to aviation, that is a firefighting vehicle, was gotten for about $1 billion. But when I went to Innocent plant, I saw the same vehicle that is even in better form, that is even using gas. The modified one now that is using gas, not even petrol, is costing less than 200 million to $1 billion naira. Is that not mind-blowing?
Wow.
For people in government to sit down and approve and award a contract to purchase one firefighting vehicle for about $1 billion,
When you can have it from
Innocent
here.
have the one that is
Less than
200 million
naira.
and is far better than that one that we are talking about.
How wasteful can we be?
That is it. We can't continue like this.
But you see, they say when the head is rotten, the entire body will stink.
I agree
So
with
if
you.
the leadership were
Much
right,
has to be
possibly,
done by the leaders,
leaders.
for the followers to
that's
queue in.
as simple as that. Let's bring this, as we'll summarize. Headline had it that about 50 or 60, is it 50 or 60
Yes.
lawmakers who signed up and wrote to the president.
I'm among them.
Okay, you were.
Yes.
That the Nnamdi Kanu issue should be approached from a political point of view.
With what is happening today in this country, if there is anything that we need to help us to come out of where we are presently, is peace. There can be peace without justice. Nnamdi Kanu, if the president of the Federal Republic really want to toe the line that will bring peace to this country, I think he should listen to us. And this is not a matter of a tribal thing.
Yes.
These members are cut across.
Those
we
who
have
signed
people
up for
from the
that.
north. We have people from the southwest. We have people from south-south. We have people who reason it that way. We need peace in this country, for crying out loud, so that we can face the enemies that are against us,
Yeah.
irrespective of APC, PDP,
Yeah.
or anywhere. There are enemies of this country.
Yeah. So you can isolate them for what they are.
Exactly.
Those who are committing crimes
Exactly.
in the name of, oh, it's because of Nnamdi Kanu.
Exactly. We need it.
I agree.
We need it. That is the stage it has gotten to.
But what is the response so far? Have you gotten any?
Well, we have signed the letter. It's for the Mr. President.
What about beyond letter now? What about the House members taking it further to see the president one-on-one? Have you sought for all
Well,
this?
we have started. Before you can get these 50 members on board, it's even more than 50, a lot was discussed for people to reason in that direction. And we will get more people to come in. And we believe that something positive will come out of it. This is the first time something like that is taking place.
I agree.
And it's cutting across the board. So here we are not playing politics.
Your
Yes.
party, as we'll conclude this discussion, your
yes,
party, LP,
yes.
what's going on?
Wouldn't you say that of PDP? Wouldn't you say that of even the current APC? I can tell you that presently in Abuja, we don't have even a state ESCO of APC in Abuja.
But couldn't LP be different?
Now,
what people will say.
why it cannot, like you think, is this. Whenever there is a political gathering, like a political party, people from different backgrounds comes together. You cannot
And it's about interest.
expect them to behave alike.
True.
And interest comes in. There will be this kind of, but it's the way we are able to handle it. And we are on it. And very soon, this dust will settle. And Labour will get stronger. And you know what? If this never happened, that shows that Labour have not made progress.
Really?
For people to pick interest in Labour and are coming to be one or one thing or the other in Labour shows that Labour have prospect. That Labour is the party to beat. The Labour Party will form the next government.
Really?
Yes.
2027?
By the grace of God.
How possible is that?
People never believed where we are today. For Muhammad Buhari to emerge as a president, he contested more than 3 times. And in all his contests, the first one that Peter Greg Ruby has done, you have seen what it is. So you can imagine, with the situation of the country, people still believe that that is the only party that have the interest of the masses at heart.
Okay.
So I believe that our party, the dust will settle very soon.
Honorable, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you for
Dixon.
the opportunity. Thank you.
Nice to meet you again.
Nigeria right now with Dixon Irebo, of course. Listen, I have always held on to a particular line in the new old anthem, which is the part that says that we may build a nation where no man is oppressed. And that is why I support from this platform the honorable members who went out there to say to Mr. President, it is time that you consider political approach to some of those issues that has to do with call for secession and all of that, particularly as it affects Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I am adding my voice to it, and I support them. I pray that the president listens and please put the interests of the Nigerian people first. On this show, all we do is discuss patriotism. That is all we do, so that we may build a nation where no man is oppressed. I see you next week on this same show, Nigeria